Hey everybody, it's Don with Shelter Life. On tonight's episode, we've got a special treat. Have you ever wondered what happens with dogs after they've been adopted from the shelter? Have you ever wondered where some of these really cool photographs come from? Well, tonight we're going to actually talk to an organization called FurEverUSA, and they're going to tell you all about exactly what it's like to capture the moments of shelter rescue animals with their new owners. It's going to be a great show. I'm Don Henkle. This is Shelter Life. Hey everybody, so on tonight's episode we're going to talk to Jasen Arias with FurEverUSA. Jason, first off, thanks for coming on Shelter Life.
Thanks for having me.
I'm kind of intrigued because I've checked out the website, I've checked out the photos, I kind of read up about you guys, and this is a really good program. You started it in Reno, right?
Correct, yeah.
And now you're going to kind of do what? Little bit of a satellite launch here in Sacramento?
I wouldn't say satellite. The program's gone over so well in Reno where we started it that we started getting a lot of requests outside of Reno. How else can we get involved? Can I support other rescues that are not in Reno, like all over the place? And so being close to us, Sacramento was just a great pilot city, but our goal is to be in 10 different cities in the next 5 years.
That's great. So history, perspective. How did FurEverUSA come to be?
My wife and I were having lunch on our anniversary in 2017. And we were walking out and somebody offered us an opportunity to set up a gallery, because we've been photographers for over 10 years now, but to set up a gallery in their community room, right? And so we took that and started brainstorming of different ways that we would be able to put something that was really community based and something that was going to not just celebrate the photography that we were providing, but would connect back into the community as well, right? It's a dog-friendly hotel, the Renaissance Hotel in Reno, Nevada. And so then we figured it would be great to start really working with animals and rescues in particular, because then we have, you know, those groups in Reno as well. And so it just kind of snowballed, right? You know, sometimes you find those ideas that you start with one piece and then you add something else and then there's something else that fits into it.
Right.
And it's one of those ideas. It started out, we were just a photography studio. We had an opportunity to create something. We wanted to use that to get outside of ourselves. We brought in the nonprofit community in the Reno area. And so we took those photographs, put them into a coffee table book, started selling the coffee table book to raise money for the nonprofits.
That's great.
And it just boom, boom, boom.
So before this, did you photograph pets a lot or animals a lot?
A fair amount, but it was more family photography with pets.
Right.
Right. And it just, we started really recognizing what they brought into our lives. I was brought up, you know, with rescues the last 18 years of my life. I've had a rescue in my life, but I never referred to her as a rescue. She was just a dog that I got, you know, and she went everywhere with me, and I didn't quite really understand the rescue community until we really got pulled into it.
So the shelter in Reno, is that where you first connected with?
We originally partnered with the SPCA in Reno, Nevada. Yep.
And how was that relationship? Was it good?
It was great. I mean, that's where this started. And that's where this launched. In fact, the original book, 100% of the profits from the original book, which that's this book here, get donated directly back to the SPCA.
That's great.
And it's still going that way. At the end of that project, we had a lot of people being like, how can I support the smaller nonprofits? How can I support a nonprofit in Sacramento, in Los Angeles, back east, all over the place? And so then we really changed the dynamics of it to where instead of just supporting one nonprofit, it was the rescue community across the board.
So we've got, you found your nonprofit that you want to work with. What's the next step?
Well, let's back it up a little bit.
Okay.
Because a lot of times people don't necessarily know a nonprofit that they're going to work with. Okay, so people will find us and they can become a part of the program. It's a $100 booking fee.
Got it.
Okay. Now, when they sign up with us, we partner them with a local photographer. So we have 3 award-winning photographers here in the Sacramento area, right? We have one in downtown, We have one in Roseville, and we also have another one in Folsom.
Okay.
Okay. When they complete that experience, they get to choose where that $100 booking fee is donated to, 100%, right? And so at that point, a lot of times it's been a referral from a local nonprofit like Front Street or Elk Grove, YOLO, Shep Heroes, like any number of those, that gets donated directly back to them and they get to make that decision.
Got it.
Right? Sometimes, like myself, and this is what really kind of drew me into this, doing things this way, I hadn't supported a nonprofit before, right? Because we have there's so many people in the community that have adopted animals through Craigslist or found them on the street or any number of places, right? Still considered a rescue, right? But they've never had an opportunity to necessarily support, so they don't know. Like we work with transport companies, right? So there's a group in Reno called Rough Riders that they'll travel and they'll go save dogs on death row and bring them back to another shelter so they avoid being euthanized. We work with groups whose sole purpose is to help people with their vet bills, right? There's this vast network of all of these different things that are going on. And so for the people that have never been exposed to that, we get to show them like, hey, you could help this group, this group, this group, or this group, and put more eyes on what they're doing.
So if they sign up to book a session,
Yep.
and it's $100 for the sitting fee, right?
Right.
So they can, at that point in time, they can choose where that money would, whatever nonprofit?
100%, as long as it's animal welfare related.
Right.
And it can go anywhere they want.
How did you connect with Front Street? How did you guys connect?
Through a group called Maddie's Fund.
Okay.
And so they're based here in California and they're in Reno, Nevada, and good friends with Front Street. And so they brought me down, introduced me to Gina and Bobby, and kind of blossomed that relationship from there.
It's a good relationship to blossom too.
Yeah,
it really is.
Yeah, we're really excited to.
No,
to
it's
be working
it's
with
exciting, and they've definitely been promoting it quite heavily. So I'm not sure, by the time this program airs, the bookings will probably already be booked.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So I think you had 300 and was it 361 or something?
So we cap.
Okay.
Right. So every single year we're going to take about 100 of the best stories and put them in the coffee table book, right? And so our goal is we're probably going to cap right around 350 shoots a year in each major city, including Sacramento.
So each major city ends up with their own book.
Yep.
That's incredible.
Yep. So this one says FurEver Reno on it.
Right.
We just got done photographing and publishing the 2018 FurEver Reno book, and we also just started photographing. So October 1st is the start date for a new book, and so we just started photographing for Sacramento.
Wow.
And so next year this time, I'll be sitting on the show bringing you guys your book.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's amazing. So you said you started this with your wife.
Yes.
So she's obviously an animal lover too.
She is, yeah.
Yeah. Do you guys actually go in and some of the sittings and watch these professionals within the cities take the photos?
So we started it, actually.
Right.
So my wife is the photographer. Almost 100% of this book is she's the photographer for, and the one that's just coming out. And so we, our job, FurEverUSA, ends up really becoming the hub of making sure everybody has a similar experience at every photography studio.
And from what I understand, you get a lot of pictures of the dogs themselves,
Yep.
and then is it then a couple with their owner?
Actually, it's more often with the owner.
Okay.
Right. The powerful part about this is the relationships, right? So, have you seen the book?
Yeah.
Okay. So
They're pretty cool, by the way, everybody. They really are.
when we look at our animals and when we spend time with them, it's not just putting them on a pedestal and telling them to look at the camera. It's that bond that we have with them, right?
It's the look.
Yeah, and so that's what it is that we want to photograph and capture. That's what it is that we want to bring out. That's what it is that we want to celebrate through the book and through this project, so that the stigma of rescue changes to being something different.
Right.
Like there isn't a single photograph in here that you would look at and be like, definitely a rescue.
No.
You know what I mean?
No, they're not. The composition, first off, it's incredible. I mean, it's been a long time since I've done black and white photography, but the shadows, the contrast, very impressive.
Thank you.
Very impressive. And the stories that you tell, I mean, just by the look of the eyes, that's why I was wondering how much you guys actually are on hands with it, because when you look at, even if you just look at the eyes on this one, I mean, look on this German Shepherd, if you look at those eyes, it's just like, there's such a story there. And you guys captured it. I mean, you captured it in that one shot that this dog has a lot to tell of his history. That's what I look at when I see it. Yeah. I see this dog saying, I have so many stories, but I'm so happy and loved. That's what I see. When you, how do you decide to put together the book? What criteria do you really go with?
The story.
The story.
100% the story.
So,
right, because here's the other thing too, because we're taking these stories and we're feeding them back into the rescue community. Right, so none of this stays with us. This isn't about a celebration of us as a photographer or anything like that. This is a celebration of relationships.
Right.
Right. So yes, we're getting this book. Yes, we're raising money and we're doing all those kind of fun things. But the other great part about it is that we're then taking these stories and these photographs and feeding them back to the rescue community which they came from. Right. So let's say you wanted to support Front Street. Right. I think I picked up on that you have a furry little kid at home yourself.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
right.
Yeah.
So if we were to photograph, what's his or her name?
Duke.
Duke. So if we photographed you and Duke, right, you would get to choose, like, hey, I want to support this particular nonprofit.
Right.
We would give that story and some of the photographs to the nonprofit so that they're not just sharing the stories of like, hey, we've got this sad puppy down here. Like, we want the rescue community to be able to start sharing the stories. Like, how long have you had Duke?
Well, Duke actually is still a puppy.
Okay.
But previously, I've had rescues for 10, 12 years.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Right. So imagine if we could take those stories, feed them back into the rescue community.
Right.
It changes the dialogue and the dynamics and the perceptions across the board.
No, I think what you're doing with the educational aspect is incredible. There's actually, you guys have a great video on your website, and we've got it, and we're going to take a look at it because it kind of really encapsulates what we're talking about. And I think we're pretty much ready to roll with that. So if you want to go ahead and roll the video of FurEverUSA, that would be a perfect time to do it.
To take her to a park and let her off the leash and see her run, it's one of the most joyful things I've ever witnessed, because it's pure joy. And then she shares that pure joy with me.
I'm excited you're here. You might have only just gone out to the driveway, but I'm so excited you're here. And that's such a nice feeling.
You know, when they're waiting at that window, it's like, I never left. You know, they need their human.
They bring out this really quirky, funny side super early on in our relationship. And he started making up a song about one of them. And I was like, you do dog songs? I do dog songs too.
We committed to a dog before we committed to many other things in our relationship.
I think just letting go and not being such a owner, I guess, all the time. I know she's my dog, but I'm her human.
You know, I got them 8 years ago. 3.5 years ago, I decided to get sober. They became my accountability. I realized these guys needed a healthy mom because they've already been through enough. Yeah, they're my rocks, you know. So they rescued me in a very big way.
Because of her story with her being returned to the SPCA twice, like, as much as we chose her, like, she really picked us.
Yeah.
And by the first night that she came home with us, she kept sleeping on or laying on our feet. We're like, what is this crazy dog doing? So we Googled it, and she was being a mother dog protecting her den. So from day one, she just wanted to protect us. Everything that they had tested on her, you know, was very like, oh, she can't have all this. No, she just needed a home. She just needed a family.
Walk, come walk with me. Feel the breeze, come walk with me. Oh, and dance, come dance with me. Shuffle your feet, come dance with me. And I will tell you when you're older.
Oh my gosh!
How I loved you just
It makes
the
me
same.
cry.
It only matters where we're going. It never mattered from where you came.
So seeing those actual photos, you realize the love is very real. It's authentic love.
You realize what a moment can capture in your heart, and that these guys won't be around forever. I just want to make sure they have the best life possible while they're here.
Things like this whole experience with the photo shoot and with talking about her sort of really brings that out. Like, she really is an important part of our family.
I can't imagine life without them. I really can't. Huh.
And I will tell you when you're older how I love you just the same. It only matters where we're going. It never mattered from where you came.
The video is incredible.
Yeah.
Absolutely incredible. And while the video was rolling, I decided to grab the book and take a look at some of these photos. I don't know, Don, I don't know if you can zoom in on this or not, but this is an example of some of what they're capturing. Not only is it the animal, but the human connection. Right.
Like that's undeniable.
Yeah. I mean, just the look, I mean, it's absolutely incredible. And then I have to show this one because I love it. I cannot help but love this. Is it Gallifrey, Ichabod, and Rufio?
Yeah.
All three rescues, right?
Yep.
I mean, just look at the faces of those things. That is just adorable, absolutely adorable. Well done, sir. Well done. I mean, it's really incredible what you guys are doing, and the purpose in giving back to the nonprofits, I think, is even more inspiring. So, on average, by the time you book a sitting, how long are the animals and their parents there?
So part of what we do is we go through what we call a discovery process, right? And so we're going to spend time with you, learning about your relationship with your fur family.
Okay.
Before you even come into the studio.
Oh, okay.
Right. That's what this is all about. Okay. Once you get to the studio, you're going to get to go through the photography experience and see your photos. Help us pick out some favorites that could possibly be featured back in the community. And then by the time that's all done, if you fall in love with something, you're welcome to purchase something for yourself.
Right.
But from start to finish at the photography studio, you're going to be less than 3 hours.
Less than 3.
Mm-hmm. And that includes seeing them.
Wow.
Yeah.
Any crazy stories you could tell about in the studio that might come to mind, or something you remember really, really special?
I don't know that it's crazy, but like I said, we used to do a lot of family photography, right? And never once did I ever tell the parents that they could leave their kids behind. But it's almost every single shoot. It's just that energy that comes into the studio now. So much so that we actually started another program that we would call Foster Fridays, where we'd bring a foster dog into the studio, spend the day with us, photograph them, get the exposure that foster family deserves, right? Because they're not working with the same kind of exposure that some of these nonprofits have and the social media followings and things like that. So they'll spend the day with us, we'll photograph them, take them to lunch, all that kind of stuff, and find homes for them.
That's really admirable, because foster programs are often the shadows of the community. A lot of people don't realize the effort that it involves to foster an animal. We've had the foster representatives from Front Street on quite a few times, actually, and they're the unsung heroes, because they're the ones who really will take sometimes the animals that need more care and love. Yeah. The ones that are more challenged, and a lot of times they blossom and nourish. And I bet you have a blast when you do that at Foster Fridays.
It's amazing. Like, it solves us having, like, we would love to have like a studio dog, right? But that doesn't work with all the dogs coming in.
Right.
So it gives us that, and it helps find homes for like you said, the animals that aren't getting the same amount of exposure.
One of the things I noticed is there's a lot of, there's some adorable, cute singles in there, but there's a lot of pairs And then as I saw my favorite there, the triplet, I mean the 3 dogs. Is that common? Do you see a lot of that?
Yeah, a lot. And again, another part that's really important about this project is that it is not about just focusing on a rescue, right? So like, let's say you have 2 or 3 dogs, or we've photographed horses and chickens and pigs, and it's all about the story that a rescue dog impacts on that family, right? So that's part of the whole family. It's not just the rescue dog.
Right.
It's the siblings, it's the parents, it's all of that.
That's amazing.
Yeah, if you the next year's book, there's cats and chickens and all sorts of crazy stuff in there.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
That'll be good. That'll be good. So you're basically setting up sitting times
Yes.
in Sacramento.
Yes.
And if the list gets full,
We'll start a waiting list.
we'll start a waiting list.
Yep.
Is there like a web address that you would like to give for them to go to sign up?
You can. If you go to either FurEver Sacramento, we'll take you right to where you need to go. So it's FurEver Sacramento or FurEverUSA.
Great. I'm amazed that you guys started this in 2017.
Crazy,
so
right?
really just like 2 years.
We're coming up on our 200th rescue family.
That's amazing.
Yeah.
And Reno, obviously, since that's your home place, how has this been received?
Everybody's got these. So there was 200 books that we sold in the first year, and so we're gonna have another 200 books that we're selling this year. And then Sacramento obviously has a much larger footprint, so
Right.
maybe we'll sell 1,000 books here next year.
Where are they going to be able to buy them? Do you know?
Right
pretty
now,
much
so
via
in
your website?
Reno, you can buy them at the SPCA and Sundance, but for 2018, the one that just came out, you can go buy that now, and right on our website, actually, or shoot us an email. And the other part that is important is, while yes, the one that just came out is still focused on Reno, you could buy the book and still ask for the profits of that book to be donated anywhere in the world. I don't really care where it goes as long as it's going to animal welfare.
So we don't have a whole lot of time left, but I want to go back a second.
Sure.
Because animals obviously mean something to you and your wife.
Absolutely. They're kids to us.
So you've always had animals, right?
Grew up with them.
If you were to tell a stranger, why is it important to look at a rescue animal, what would it be?
Unconditional gratitude. That's the number one word that comes up time and time again is unconditional.
Yeah, and I think, I always tell people that, because I think I've had one actual dog that was not a shelter in my entire life. And I always say they choose you.
Absolutely.
I can think of 4 that definitely chose me, that's for sure. And Duke, well, Duke's just Duke, and he's still a puppy, so he's making his own way. But it is unconditional, and you guys should get one of these books, because when you look at them closer, you can actually see the look in the animal's eyes, and especially when they're with their parent, their human parent. You can see that bond, and the way that's captured, I think, is magical, actually. And the reflections are just beautiful. What a beautiful picture to put on the cover of that one. I have a very soft heart for German Shepherds, so absolutely beautiful. Jasen, you're doing a phenomenal job.
Thank you.
This is a great organization. I'm actually glad we're being able to give you some spotlight time on this. I have a feeling you're going to be very successful in Sacramento.
Thank you.
Sacramento is an extremely loving animal community.
It caught me off guard, to be honest.
It's extremely loving animal community, and the city embraces it as well.
Yeah.
And that's due to lots of PR from lots of different organizations. But Front Street's not a bad one to work with, I can tell you that. But it's a phenomenal place to capture this. I think you guys are going to have a lot of fun doing that in this city. I really, really do.
We're excited.
So thank you again for coming on.
Anytime.
Everybody, check out FurEverUSA's website and check out exactly what's going on. You might still be able to sign up for a sitting. If not, you might have a waiting list, probably a waiting list. They'll probably have a waiting list, so put your name on there anyway. And remember, if you're selected, you can choose your sitting fee to go to any animal organization, nonprofit organization that you choose, which is phenomenal. Jasen, thanks so much.
Absolutely.
I really, really appreciate it.
Thank you.
And great job.
Maybe we'll see you and Duke in next year's book, huh?
You never know, right? You never know. All right, everybody. So hopefully you've enjoyed this edition of Shelter Life. Stay tuned. We have lots more stories to tell this season. Until next time, I'm Don Henkle, and this is Shelter Life.